Hey, good morning. Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, there was a lot of interest on our disappointment that we had from when we came back from Cebu after our latest appointment with the clinic for the IVF. And I just wanted to do a follow-up on what we're actually now going to have to do. Just in case you haven't, just to give you a bum's rush through what's happening. Some years ago, a long time ago, I had a vasectomy. Last year had a reversal. We wanted to have a child of our own. We wanted to give it a chance to see if it could happen naturally. We should have actually gone to, now that I realise it, we should really have gone to a nutritionist way back then, because it would have made, I think it would have made a big difference. Now, what's actually happened is that we've gone to an in vitro clinic, or a clinic that, among its other services, will give help you to have an in vitro childbirth. So that's what we're doing now. In the first week we did some tests. The first month we did some tests. Second month we went back to find out what the results of those tests were. Now, they were a little disappointing, right? Because some of the numbers, they have a way of doing this mathematically, and they go on percentages and 1 point this and 2 point that, and they'll tell you what is happening. Now, another subscriber said that he, at one time with his wife, went along, and they went to have some tests done, and he said that they were very forthright in telling of all of the deformities of the sperm. This one didn't have a tail, and that one had a bulbous head, and various inventive, creative ways of describing those poor little swimmers that are responsible for the human race. Anyway, they gave up, and I don't believe that they did anything after that. But many years later, I'm going on memory now, and I read so many messages. You'll forgive me if I don't know names and all the details, but I believe it could have been as many as 6, possibly 12 years later, they conceived naturally. So in other words, they'd given up on the idea of having a child, just resigned themselves to it, and then lo and behold, she's pregnant. So I wanted really to go into the idea of what we are now faced with, in particular for those people who are interested, and there have been a surprising number who have been interested in having a second chance. What may for them be a second chance, or another chance at having a family. Now, it probably is not specific to the Philippines, but in the Philippines, the chances are that if you are an expat and you're coming over here, or you have a Filipino wife, she is probably quite a bit younger than you are. So she is probably well within, health-wise and otherwise, in the kind of shape that you need to be in to have a child, and you may not be. You may have had a vasectomy. The man that has just sent me a message had a vasectomy 30 years ago, and that probably is about the same as me. I had the vasectomy reversal and had every hope that everything would be fine, because at the time that they do the reversal, at the time that they do the reversal, they do check to see if there is live sperm, so they know if it has been successful. Now, your lifestyle after that, and I'm giving you this for information that not from any great altitude, but from what I've learned as a result of reading a lot of comments and a lot of research for myself, and a lot of self-realization in about the way that I live. Now, we have had a very stressful past several months which have all taken a toll. We work very hard at doing what we do on our channel, and we have always, in the last 2 years, we have worked 24/7, and so our sleep patterns are all shot to hell. Believe me, 3:30 this morning, or 3:30 almost any morning to 4 o'clock, I will be fielding comments. Now, you don't have to take my word for that, because any response that I make is usually timed. So a lot of people have said, when do you ever sleep? Well, I'm at the age now where I can't actually remember the last time that I slept for even 6 hours. It just doesn't happen. And if you're in that age bracket, 60s and up, you probably are the same. Sleep is not something that you go to bed and die and wake up the next day, or even have to have somebody wake you up, because you will simply sleep on. I can't remember when that happened for me. But then I was a musician for so many years, and I had the most awful sleep patterns ever, because sometimes we would get in from a gig. I was in a band that was on the road, and I did that for 7 years. We would get in at some unearthly hour, having finished work at, say, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in Manchester, drive over 200 miles back to London, pick up our cars, go home, go to bed, and probably have to wake up at 11 o'clock or midday, even when we got to bed at 8 or 9 in the morning. Sometimes we would be coming back in rush hour traffic. So my sleep patterns were always pretty lousy. And now we're having to try to make those adjustments, resist doing that kind of thing that we've habitually done, especially for the last 2 years. So if you're in that same situation as us, as me, speaking for the man, Beth is 29 years old. She doesn't, I doubt that, I think that under normal circumstances with a man her age, pregnancy would be inevitable and fast. So we have to be honest about that. We have to be honest about a lot of things if we're going to try to help other people to have some hope. Now, a lot of the comments that we've had, they range in different, they're in different categories. Let's take it from what I feel is often the most important, and that is whether you pray. Not just whether you pray. I'm not interested in whether anybody is a Catholic or a Protestant or a Buddhist or however you do that, but if you commune with the divine, let's put it that way, with the God power, with the reason that we're here, if you spend time communing with that power, then that will be one of the strongest but most unpredictable forces that will be at play in your having a child. Sometimes faith is the only thing that happens, and that hinges on how you're thinking. And this has been the subject of many of my videos about how you think is the way that your life is going to unfold later. Now, does that mean that you're conscious of every thought that you have? No, because all of our thoughts they're multi-level. They arrive at different levels of awareness. And I'm not trying to go all New Age on you. I'm trying to show you that sometimes you set off a chain of thoughts based on intentions, wishes, and needs and desires, and you set that chain off, and it is happening below the level of your awareness. Now, if you have been told over and over and over to drive carefully, then when you get into that car, that conditioning is actually in force. If you have been thinking, as I've explained once before. If you're thinking about a certain car which you hadn't thought about before, I always say the Volvo, because it seems to be a rare, certainly here it's a very rare car. So, and you suddenly think, well, maybe it might be nice to have a Volvo, and then the next thing, your subconscious mind, or the only mind that's really conscious all the time, is putting up pictures of Volvos. There's a Volvo over there. Oh, there's a blue one. There's a red one. There's one coming out of that driveway. Now your attention is being brought, because that subliminal thought which you set in action is now in operation. Now if you think that that's, if you're looking at that and saying, yeah, I've had that, you know, somebody said, what about this, and now suddenly I can't think of anything else. We had a friend, Tracy, our Australian explorer. He said that one of his little gags on people was he would start singing a particular song. So he'd go along and somebody would be there and he'd say, you can't stop thinking about that song, can you? Well, what song is that? Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. And for the next day, that poor man would be singing Zippity-doo-dah, or some other song. Make up your own mind on that one, right? So if you can go along with that as a concept, then think about what your thoughts are doing now as you hope for a child. And if it is in desperation, if you're saying to yourself, oh, I'll never be able to have a child, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too weak, I'm too thin, I'm too fat, I'm too... Those thoughts are actually starting off at the bottom of your, at the top of your awareness, like a pond, and they're sinking down. But do you think that they're not in operation anymore? Sorry, they are, very much so. So, some of the comments that we get deal with that side of it. Some of them deal with exercise. Those people who are involved in healthy exercise and are always exercising and are super fit, and all their numbers are great, their blood pressure is right, their cholesterol is right, because they're taking care of their body on a physical level. There's those kind of comments. There's the other kind of comments who are people who are into healthy eating. Vegans, we've had advice from vegans, you know, cut out the pork, cut out the beef, limit the amount of rice that you eat, because it generates, it turns to sugar. So all of these things come in, and what they do is they make you realize that, or should, you're able to look through all of these comments too. It's not just addressed to me, it's general information. What's going to happen is that you should be realizing that maybe there are some areas of your life that you're going to have to change. Now, one of the suggestions that the clinic said was that, well, maybe when was the last time that you had your prostate checked? So now, probably Monday, we're going over to Cebu again, and we're going to have an ultrasound. Now, someone else said, ultrasound, not such a good idea, because it doesn't give this. And they gave their experience, once again, all valuable input, and all accessible to you, if you are in the position that I am in now, that I'm trying to share with you. They said biopsy, and that they had to have it done several times. And then another said, I didn't have the reversal. I went ahead and had the IVF. It was successful, but they took it from the testicle. And if that doesn't bring tears to your eyes, I don't know. So I'm still hoping for the good old-fashioned way, where I go steady with my hand, if you'll pardon the expression. So all of these things show that although we posted a video which Beth, in her wisdom, decided to title A Bad Disappointment, or A Disappointment, we're not giving up. This is just the one step. If you decided me and my examples. If you decided that you were going to run a marathon is 26 miles, you know, all right, so you usually spend 4 hours a day, one way or the other, watching television, probably on your favourite sports channel. Now, are you just going to wait until the day before the marathon to go out and buy some running gear and then straight in? No, of course you're not. So let's assume that the marathon is 3 months' time. You're going to get into shape. You're going to change your style of living, lifestyle. You're going to start eating differently. You're going to need more protein because you're going to be working out. Now, all of these things apply to me, but whatever it is that you are doing, you can take a lesson from the trials and tribulations that I am going through, that if you are going through this, you'll be nodding your head and saying, yeah, that's me, I'm going to have to quit this and quit that. Believe me, quitting, it seems like a very small thing compared to trying to quit heroin or some other drug, but quitting chocolate, quitting coffee, quitting sugar, those are real trials for me, and they have to be done. So I consider now that I'm in boot camp. On diet, I'm in boot camp. I'd already started to exercise, and I enjoy that anyway. I was always into that. I've always been not a spectator sport kind of person, but I enjoy doing things. So I'm a cyclist, a swimmer, all of those kind of things that you do. I've been into the weights. I've done karate for quite a period of my life, full contact, where you had to be in good shape to be able to take a blow. All of those things were all something which I enjoyed doing anyway. So getting back into fitness is something that I enjoy doing. The nutrition is another thing, and I'm back to doing what I was doing when I was in Fort Myers. I was living alone. I went on to the juicer just because I began to think, well, wait a minute, I need to cleanse my body. And I went through some of the cleansing routines as well, which you take certain pills or so on. And what it does is it starts to help you to get rid of some of the garbage which is clinging to the various intestines, okay, and you go through some very interesting times at the toilet, and you can see that there's a lot of stuff in there that's been hanging on in spite of everything that you may think. So I'm in boot camp, and if you are hoping to have a child and in the same kind of situation as me, that you may need some help, you're trying to conceive and it's not happening, you need to know maybe you should be going to the doctor, even if you're not going to go to an expensive IVF clinic. Maybe you should go to the doctor, get a note from him, and go to one of these laboratories where they will do tests on anything, and you want to go and have your sperm tested. Now, what does it tell you? I've been told that my sperm is this or that, or it hasn't got this, it hasn't got that, or there are some deformities, and I've been told that. Well, that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, and I'm going to assume, and this seems logical to me, and may be something that you can agree to. If there's something wrong in some product, some byproduct of what I do, then it can be changed, because it was me that got it there, and it's me that can get it back. I don't have to take drugs. I can simply start to eat better. I've been reading and actually did a couple of videos on the thyroid. The thyroid is something that I've educated myself on recently. The thyroid is responsible for governing, overseeing every aspect of the body and reinforcing and keeping healthy, if it's doing its job, keeping healthy the immune system. So there's something that needs to be looked at. So you just look at this as the same as if you were going in for our hypothetical marathon, right? So if we could afford to, we'd probably go out and get a trainer. So we go out and we get a trainer, and the trainer looks at us and goes, well, it's impossible, but we'll try. And it gives you a hard time. So you're smoking, cut that out. You're doing the donuts, cut that out. You're eating, you're drinking coffee, cut that out. Stop. And so you almost have to get to that point. If you're in what I call boot camp, if you're in that situation where you've got a lot of bad habits, then sorry, it's boot camp time. Once again, I will recommend that that movie, which is like a documentary made by an Australian who realized that his lifestyle was going to kill him, and he made a movie called Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead. Don't be put off by taking the title personally and thinking, well, I'm not that fat and I'm not that sick and I'm certainly not dead. Don't do that. Just look at the movie and look at what the man did and how it changed his life and a lot of others. It certainly changed mine and my lifestyle, because that's when I was in Fort Myers and I decided I was going to go on the juicer. I went to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, and I changed. I put myself in boot camp back then. Eventually I stopped having the juicer 24/7, and in the evening I would have a very, very lightly cooked meal that was composed of all the same ingredients of everything that I juiced. So I still didn't go off my diet. The only change was that I would add a little tuna or a little tiny bit of chicken. I'm talking about something that can be chopped up or got in a can. They used to make very, very small cans like this, very, very small, of chicken and of tuna. So that's what I would do, and that would help me. There's another man, his name is Bass, Arnold, maybe it was Arnold Bass, Claude Bass. Bass was famous for books called Ripped, and he created Ripped. Now, he's a man who will allow you some little luxuries, like he liked ice cream, and gosh darn it, he was going to have his ice cream. But he was down to 2.2 or 3% body fat. So he knew what he was doing, and he knew what he was talking. And he was super fit, and he was a bodybuilder, and quite a man. Arnold Bass, B-A-S-S. You can look it up. Ripped. Look him up on YouTube. Incredible man. So all of those things are going to have to be attended to, and I'm going to do that, and we're going to get results. And for those of you who think that we might be thinking about giving up, no chance. No chance. We will be doing what has to be done, and it will come about. You know, there's a lot of fallacies about age, and one of the things that we all go into agreement with as we age, as we get older, is we stop doing things. That's why so many times people look at what I'm doing and they're aghast. Terence, you should have somebody there to carry those boxes for you. You shouldn't be doing this. This is the trap of old age, is that everybody starts thinking that they can't carry a box or something. It's obviously true that you can't do what you used to do if you have allowed the gradual decline. But there are some people out there who are in their 80s and doing amazing things. So why not you? As long as you haven't been abusing your body incredibly, then you will be able to go back. Muscle has memory, it will remember what you used to do. And as long as you're not stupid like I was when I was in Pampanga and go training with my son, who is as fit as a fiddle, and there I am trying to do, let me see, what was I trying to do? Sit-ups. And I didn't take it easy. I didn't remember that I'm an old fart already, so I've got to take it slower. The staircase for you to get to the next level has probably got to have a lot more steps in it than you would like, because we all feel like we're young guys at heart. But a little test of reality is go and have a look at the bathroom mirror every day, and you'll see that that old fart that's staring back on you is you. So take it easy, and step back one on the exercise more than you think. If you think you should step back 2 steps, step back 3, step back 4, and take it easy. Otherwise you will have injuries, and that's a given. So I hope that this helps for those of you who are like-minded, like-intentioned, and are hoping to have a family. I believe it can be done, I believe. And don't entertain discouraging thoughts. Just don't give them headspace. Think of your mind like a living room. What kind of furniture are you going to put in there? You're going to put furniture in this living room of yours that is comfortable to sit on. You're going to have a bed of nails in there? No. That's what your negative, disappointing, I'll never do it thoughts are like. So, get up on the furniture in that living room of your mind and make sure that it's a comfortable place to be, and one that prepares you for what you need to do. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.